Today I want to show you how to make this delicious coffee in a glass percolator. But first we need to empty this and wash it out. There's several different percolators, plastic, aluminum, but glass is my favorite because you can boil it and sanitize it and see straight through it. So now that everything is clean, we're putting fresh water in it and I'm starting it off real low. I like to start it off low and then work my way up. This percolator has several pieces. This is the part where your coffee grounds are going to go in, and you can put this piece on top or bottom. And then this is a stem. This is where water is going to boil and bubble through the stem and come out, trickle down onto your coffee grounds. And then the rest is pretty much like a regular coffee maker. Only we have a reusable filter here. We have no waste other than the coffee grounds, which you can purpose those in other many ways. I already ground up some coffee grounds here, which we have our own little grinder. And then I'm just going to be putting them into this, basically think of it like a reusable filter. And being careful to go on the sides here because the stem in the middle has a hole in it. So as long as you go below the stem and don't pile your coffee grounds above it, you will be fine. So you can kind of see how I'm just slowly building it up and seeing how much I have here. And then I'm going to show you my secret ingredient. My husband absolutely loves sweet and caramel coffee, but we are watching our sugar intake. So I found some sugar-free caramel syrup and I drizzle this on top of the coffee grounds so that when it percolates, the flavor gets into the coffee. And it's sugar-free, so we're going thick. This is going to last him all week. You put this over the stem, so the stem's in there. You put this over the stem. You do want the water level to be just below because you want it to be able to actually strain and drip out. And then a glass percolator has two little lips here. One goes up for the front and one always gets hooked on the back. So the back one gets hooked and then goes straight down, and then you turn it and see how it's locked now. So with this type of method, you can turn this any way you want for 45 degrees and the lid will be locked on. And I love the glass ones because you can see through them. So the water will bubble through here, come up, trickle onto that lid. You will see it up here on the glass lid, and then it will go through that little filter and then into this chamber here where the caramel coffee is. And then it will trickle down through the second filter there. I'm going to just keep slowly turning this up until I see some bubbles. You can start to see some bubbles here. And it's starting to steam up nicely, and I'm just slowly turning up the heat until I get to the right temperature that I want. I'm going to fast forward this for you ×2, and you can see as soon as the bubbles start to really get going there, it's a pretty fast transition. Once they really start shooting up, you'll see the water just change instantly. Now, this is a clear percolator because it's glass, but if you didn't have a clear one, the top piece on the lid is usually always clear on any percolator. And that is what most people use to tell the color of it and how dark they want their coffee. The nice thing about this is I can clearly see how dark it is. And I've always used plastic or aluminum percolators before I found this glass one. And I will say now that I have a glass one, the color from the top piece there and the color at the bottom are two different shades of coffee. That being said, I never thought it was a big deal before. But now I know that there's definitely a difference between the two coloring because one is more diluted. When it splatters on the top clear piece, it's a diluted coffee, whereas the bottom is actually what you're going to be pouring out. However, I have a plastic percolator that is an electric one, if you guys want to see that. That is what I take on vacation when we go camping and stuff because it is electric. I also have a stovetop metal percolator. And I have an aluminum one that was my grandmother's. And this glass one is my grandmother's, which we found when we were moving. I couldn't even believe she had this because I've been looking for one for so long. Didn't even know she had it this whole time because it was buried in the back part of a closet in her basement. We had no idea. So we were quite surprised when we found this one, and I couldn't wait to try it out. I'm absolutely in love with it. I love it more than all my other ones. I actually got rid of a couple because I really like this one. So now we just have a few. I'm going to lift you guys up so you can see the top. So you can see kind of what I'm talking about, how it's so much lighter color up here. And so you kind of think, oh, the coffee is not quite done yet. But in reality, it is much darker down below. I'm pointing out the filter there. You just want to make sure that it's dripping fast enough and not overflowing up there. That's really the only thing you need to really keep an eye on. If you have the heat turned up too high, that top container may fill up too fast and not have enough time to drain. Alright, DC is going to show you how we empty out the coffee grounds. We turned it off the stove, we let it cool for a few hours, went and did other things. He's struggling with the lid, and I'm having to explain to him that there's 2 pieces, and all you do is turn it 1/4, and it comes right up. So there's a little lid. He had to go rinse it out right away. And then I like to take the bottom piece off and just flick it out. For whatever reason, he does things the hard way. I don't know why. This is me trying to gently tell him, if you just take that bottom piece off, it will all just flick out really good. And then we like to take a paper towel and get the remnants of the coffee grounds off so that they don't go down our sink drain. And that is how you use a glass percolator, you guys. I put the lid back on and we put this in our fridge, and DC uses it all week for his coffee for work, on his drive to work, I should say. And then, yeah, when it gets low, we wash it and do it again. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye.